Reading Warbreaker on a Saturday evening? I guess I just like living life on the edge. Hey everyone, I'm Nikhil with Shelf-Esteem, and this is the week ending August 3rd, 2024. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Nikhil with Shelf-Esteem. I'm a composer, now also a booktuber. You can find my music in The Wheel of Time Season 2, His Dark Materials Season 3, and the official Brent Week's companion album for his series Lightbringer. So I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about everything that happened this week in my music life, in my reading life, and kind of update you all on what's been going on with the channel, because I think it's kind of, you know, this channel is our channel. I may be the steward of the channel, the guardian of the channel, if you want to say. But really, it's a channel that is made by the love and effort of all of us. You know, I've gotten so many great recommendations from you, both in terms of books to read and also in terms of topics to kind of have on the channel. So this is a channel that is a collective effort, and I'm so grateful to you all. So if you like this kind of video, please like and subscribe as well. And I have some links, affiliate links and things like that in the description, and that helps out the channel as well. So without further ado, let's talk a little bit about what I read this week. So I finished The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This was a fantastic read. I really enjoyed kind of where the characters ended up at the end of book one. I really enjoyed kind of the start of Kvothe's story. And I really enjoyed taking my time because, frankly, I don't know when The Doors of Stone is ever going to come out. And so it was nice to kind of really allow Patrick Rothfuss's words to wash over me. I think Kvothe is an amazing character, and to see his character develop, because I wasn't sure during the first maybe half of the book how it was going to go. In terms of his development, because I felt like the prose and also the world building were more of a focus than, you know, a character arc. And of course, you know, we have an unreliable narrator here in Kvothe because he's telling his own story. So he's going to build himself up to be, you know, maybe then a little bit bigger than he probably is, you know. But that's the case of somebody narrating their own story. I will say the thing that did kind of fall short for me personally is, and I kind of alluded to this in my previous video, is that lack of depth of the character. And this is the first book I know, you know, it's kind of more of a starting book, but I felt like more could have been achieved there. I really like Robin Hobb's writing and Christopher Rocchio's writing. If you like similar books with like prose, and in Christopher Rocchio's case with the Sun Eater series, you know, kind of narrating his own story, you will probably like those as well, because they also, in addition to the great things I love about The Name of the Wind, they also have, you know, really great character development and kind of internal struggles that are not as external. Like, you know, in Kvothe's story, a lot of his struggles were actually external, the kind of circumstances he was put in. And that part made, you know, him a very empathetic character. But I would have liked to see a little bit more of the internal. So that's my only gripe about the book, but I would give it a solid, you know, 4 out of 5 for me. And so I'm really glad I read it. I finally went down this journey, and I really appreciate you all for pushing me to kind of read it, because, you know, when a series is not finished, you kind of always feel like, do I really want to read something I know might never be finished? But, you know, it was long overdue to start this journey. So I'm really glad, and I'm really grateful to you all for kind of pushing me down that lane and getting me to read such a wonderful book by Patrick Rothfuss. So even if he never finishes it, I'm glad I read it. I look forward to checking out Wise Man's Fear at some point, the sequel book. I don't know when I'm going to honestly get to it, so we'll see kind of how it all goes. But that's where I left off with that one. I also alluded to this in the kind of the intro, the cold open of this video. Oh, I got a little low battery warning, so let's see how this lasts. But anyways, I kind of alluded to this in the intro, that I read a little bit of Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. Now, I'm doing a Cosmere read this year in anticipation for The Wind and Truth, which is the 5th book in the Stormlight Archive, which concludes the first arc in the series, and that's coming out December 6th. So I really wanted to kind of be well versed in my Cosmere lore and knowledge, because I feel like this 5th book is going to be a seminal one that's going to tie up a lot of things in terms of the Cosmere at large. I think it's going to have a lot of consequences for Brandon Sanderson's wider universe. So I really wanted to make sure that I you know, took the time to read his books leading up to that. So I've been enjoying Warbreaker so far. I've been reading it pretty consistently this week, so I'm about maybe 70% done already. And I gotta say, you know, I love the world building. It is so unique. I have never read anything quite like it, and you could see, like, even as an earlier work of Brandon Sanderson's, and as a standalone, he really opens it up to a wider world. Like, I could imagine this being a series, and I think he was talking about maybe doing a second entry at some point. So let's hope that happens, because I'm loving the characters. Siri and Vivenna, the sisters, the contrast between them are really interesting. Nothing is quite as it seems, with this kind of this place that they're going to, Halendron. And I'm trying to keep this as spoiler free as possible, but also gush about why I like this book. But the world building there and the contrast of the two cities, where they come from, where they're going, is very interesting. How in the palace nothing is as it seems. And one thing I will say is, up until about maybe the 50% mark, I had the same kind of feeling as I did with The Name of the Wind, where the characters didn't feel quite as fleshed out as, say, like a Mistborn Era 1 or Stormlight Archive, where you really feel for the empathy for the characters' plights, and it's not just circumstantial, but again, it's more of an inner struggle. So I'm starting to see much more of that in this book now, in that next 20% that I've been reading. So I'm kind of hooked now, and I'm really excited to read and finish this. I'm recording this on a Saturday evening around 6 p.m. So by the time you see this, which is going to be Sunday, I put it up usually 8:15 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so I can get a jump on the morning and kind of get this up for you guys. So I might even finish this tonight. I don't really know what's going to happen, but I'm really enjoying the ride so far, and I've been enjoying it in particular because actually I've not been reading from the physical copy of the book that I got from the library. I'm going to try to hold this up here so you can actually see the cover, because I think it's very shiny right now. But I'm not reading from this copy because my mother-in-law got me a wonderful early birthday gift. And she got me, I cannot believe she got this for me, so I had to show it to you on camera. But she got me a Kindle Scribe. And I've been wanting one of these for a while now. I mean, it is so gorgeous. And I was thinking of doing maybe a video comparing this with my Paperwhite, which is what I previously had. And the difference is like unreal. I mean, it's so much faster in the way it works than the Paperwhite. And then also, it's just like a pleasure to read. You really feel like, if you hold these two up, they're comparable sizes, I'm trying to hold this up without dropping it. They're comparable sizes, so you actually feel like you're reading a trade paperback, and it's much more pleasant to read. So I've been loving the journey, and I love it especially because of this Kindle Scribe. So thanks, Terry. Love you. And so she watches the videos too, so I just wanted to give her a shout out for that. But I was so surprised when she got it from me, so I just had to thank her, on video and say, love you and appreciate you. So I'm looking forward to taking this on the cruise with me and getting a lot more reading done. So that's kind of what I read this week. As far as what I want to read next week, so you all have been so wonderful, and I'd put up a poll, and I'd also put up kind of in my kind of what I want to read in the month of August video. I'm linking that up here. It's the August TBR video. I asked you to help me pick my next Stephen King read, because I was having trouble deciding, and there were a couple different books that I really wanted to check out. One was Different Seasons, which is the novella collection consisting of The Breathing Method, Apt Pupil, Rita Hayworth, and The Shawshank Redemption, which was adapted. Apt Pupil was actually also adapted. I haven't seen that one though. And then what was it? The Body, which was adapted into the 80s film Stand By Me. So, I was looking into reading that, but I also wanted to read Dreamcatcher, and I also wanted to read Black House, which is a sequel to The Talisman. And so I figured, rather than just trying to decide, I would rather do something that you really want to see a review on. So I kind of posed the question to you all, and I put up a poll in my community post, and I also asked the question in the video. And unanimously, there's been a lot of votes for Black House and also Dreamcatcher, but the clear winner, the far and away winner, ended up being Different Seasons. So thanks to you all, I'm going to be choosing that one to read next, and I'm super excited to get into it because I've heard nothing but great things from all the Stephen King fans. And as you know, I say in every video, he's my favorite author of all time. I have a shelf dedicated to him back there, so I'm really looking forward to reading that. And rest assured, for any of you who really had your heart set on Black House and Dreamcatcher, I will be doing reads and reviews of both of those as well, to appease those people who really wanted to see those. Those will just be maybe in a couple months or so. So if you could just hang tight for a little bit, those will be on their way. But Different Seasons will be the one I'm choosing for this week. So this week I'm going to be reading Different Seasons by Stephen King. I'm also kind of trying to think of which one I want to read next. I was contemplating Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy, but I ordered To Ride Hell's Chasm on Amazon by Jenny Wirtz. and it's another fantasy tale, and I'm kind of feeling the fantasy this week. So I think I might kind of do that, and the Stephen King book I think will be nice side by side to read, especially since Jenny Wirtz's prose is a bit more complex and the world is very deep and the lore is very deep. I would love to read a standalone fantasy like that, and then juxtaposition again against some Stephen King. So can never go wrong when that happens. So that's what I'm going to be reading this week. Now let's talk about what happened on the channel as well this week. So I released two videos. One was my August TBR, which I kind of mentioned to you, and I also linked up there. And the second one I did, which was I was actually really passionate about because it's something that means a lot to me, which is music. But it's really music for book adaptations because a lot of the books that we have grown to love and read and the ones that we wanted to read have been adapted, and more so in the wake of the pandemic because a lot of agents would have nothing to do and they would be sitting and reading books and they would want to work with their clients to option property and kind of develop stuff. So the upshot of the pandemic was, more stuff was being adapted and there's more kind of eyes and ears on adaptations. So I think soundtracks are such a huge part of that adaptation and building the world from a musical standpoint. So I'm linking that up here. I talked about a tier list video of various soundtracks that have been released over the decades and some that had a huge impact on the musical landscape and also movie music, and also some that were kind of duds. So I wanted to do a tier list and kind of explain my thought process on them because as you know, I've worked on a couple of adaptations myself in building out a musical world. Like on Wheel of Time, I was project lead on season 2. So part of my job, in addition to writing the music, was also kind of coordinating with the team and helping to craft the sound of that second season. So so world building, musical world building is something I'm really passionate about. So I really wanted to talk about that all with you. So it was a little bit of a unique kind of video that I wanted to put up there. So that leads to what we're going to have on the channel this week. So I had put, previously a top fantasy series I want to complete video, which I'm also linking up here. I want to next do my top 10 fantasy books of all time as of 2024. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to feature an author multiple times if there are multiple, series that should be on this list. But what I'm going to do is I'm only going to focus on one book from each series. So I'm not going to do, like, for example, Mistborn in Final Empire and then Well of Ascension, its sequel. I will not do that. I will only pick one if Mistborn was to be on the list. I'm not saying it is, and I still have to craft that list, but I'm going to sit down this week and kind of try to figure out what that's going to be. So that's the first video. The second video, I was trying to think of something different. Since I'm kind of on a fantasy kick, and in the wake of reading different seasons before I put up a video about that, I kind of wanted to do another fantasy video, but this one is kind of a little bit unique, I think, at least. I haven't seen too many people talk about this, but I wanted to talk about kind of a bookish journey into fantasy worlds, like the top fantasy worlds that I would want to visit in real life if they existed. Some of them might be idyllic worlds, some of them might be really downtrodden and pretty brutal worlds. But if there's something about them that have an allure, I kind of want to explain the fantasy world itself in question without, spoiling anything for you guys, and also explaining why I would travel there. And of course, I would want to open it up to discussion and see what are your fantasy world picks, So that always goes without saying, but I always want to let you know that this is a dialogue. I want to always talk to you all about the things that inspire you, the books that move you, books that should be higher on my list, books that should be lower on my list, and also, of course, fantasy worlds and things like that. So that's going to be what's going to happen this coming week on the channel. And lastly, I want to talk a little bit about the music front because, again, another gangbusters week to the point where, like, today I sat on the couch and I was going to read more Warbreaker and I just fell asleep for 2 hours, and I'm not a nap guy. Okay. I never take naps in the afternoon. It just doesn't happen. Like, me and naps don't mix. I always have so much energy. So, for me to take naps in the middle of the day is like a weird thing. So it's been a tiring week. I delivered all the music for that audio drama that I've been helping out on. That is a mystery. I will reveal it when I'm allowed to. Very excited to talk about that. And then I finished the short film, a horror short film called Ayaka's Game that I finished. I delivered all the music yesterday. That was really great. And then yesterday I went to a fantastic event called the Alliance of Women Film Composers, and they had like a summer party, and it's basically an organization that highlights women film composers, because there are so few women film composers, now growing, thankfully, due to people championing women composers and also having organizations like this to foster more support for them. So it was really great to come out and show support and just like hang with good friends and stuff. So did that yesterday. So it was a little bit of a late night. And then, and then what else did I do? I did something for Dead Whisper. Dead Whisperer has been sitting at 83% on Rotten Tomatoes. We've been getting some review bombing now on IMDb, which has been, that's how you know you're doing something that people are watching, is if they're review bombing it, right? So been seeing some of that come to the fray, but it's okay. I'm glad people are watching it, and I'm glad that like a lot of people love it. And I also am very appreciative when people have a strong reaction to it from a negative standpoint as well, because I think it promotes discussion, like what makes a good horror movie, what makes a horror movie. Because Dead Whisper is this movie I'd scored last year that just came out in theaters a couple weeks ago, and it's more of a meditation on grief, and it's a character study on what somebody would be willing to do to see their loved one again. And so it's more of a slow burn, like Rosemary's Baby, The Shining horror, rather than jump scare horror. So, it's going to work for some, not work for others. But I was so grateful to be a part of it. And yeah, so that's been going gangbusters as well. It's nice to see it still be on the horror charts and on the Apple TV, horror charts and everything. So that has been great. And next week we'll be just kind of pitching for some stuff and kind of biding my time before my 2 vacations. I'll be going to Vancouver from the 15th through the 18th with some college friends. And then I will be also going to a 11-day Alaskan cruise with my wife. So I'm really looking forward to that as well. So this is kind of a longer weekly update. I just had a lot to share with you guys, and I'm just excited to be able to talk to you all. And, if you'll excuse me, I got some reading to do, of course, with Warbreaker tonight, and that's going to be a nice kind of fun night of what I got planned. This is what happens when you get to be my age, Saturday nights are crazy when you're staying up past 10 p.m. to read a book or something. But luckily I have a booktube channel, so it's kind of perfectly on brand. But that's it from me. I'm Nikhil with Shelf-Esteem. Let me know in the comments, like, what you read this week, what you enjoyed, anything cool happened to you this week that you wanted to share. Let's have a little show and tell. Like, leave it in the comments and let me know. And yeah, I really appreciate you watching. This community has grown to now 321 subscribers as of this taping, and I would have never imagined that I would be able to help foster this little small corner of the internet, small community of both fellow book lovers that are just wonderful people. So I just want to say thank you for joining with me in this 3.5 month journey so far, and I'm really looking forward to what the next weeks and months have to hold for this channel and for more great conversations with you guys. So with that, I'm Nikhil with Shelf-Esteem. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and have a wonderful week next week. Bye.